Hey folks, how you doing? It is Friday, about the 4th of October or so, the day after Yom Kippur here in Israel. Folks getting ready for the Shabbat, and I hope you're doing well, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, and that you're doing good things. And I wanted to mention the multiple murder case that happened yesterday outside of a synagogue in Manchester, in England. Unfortunately, multiple people were killed. The murderer rammed people with his car and then got out of his car and stabbed people. And the murderer was eliminated by security forces responding to the scene. They shot him. He was wearing a fake suicide bomb belt as well, reportedly. And you can see photos of him, and even there's a video of the entire event where he was eliminated in the chaos. And what was the response to this criminal act, this barbaric terrorist act, on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar? What was this? What was the response of the people of England? Well, yeah, there were well-wishers who wished the Jewish population well, and many people in the immediate area who came out to assist in any way that they could. But actually, the emergency response forces, the police, and ambulances, etc., responded apparently relatively quickly. I mean, police certainly did. They were involved in a melee with the assailant, the terrorist, and they eliminated him. So they responded quickly enough, but unfortunately not quickly enough to save all the lives of the people who died because, well, you know, he literally crashed into some of them and stabbed the others. But there was another response, a very unfortunate and ugly response, and kind of response you would only expect from a barbaric group of people. And that response was that people in the immediate area who were not prone to being helpful or kind to victims of a multiple murder event, they started to riot against the victims in support of the murderer. That's what England has come to. The government will literally go into your house in the middle of the night and arrest you for looking at a tweet that they don't like, or that they don't approve of, or retweeting something that they don't approve of. But if you chant on behalf of a murderer who has killed multiple people, who were literally just in, near their synagogue where they were attending prayers and services for Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, literally, when the Jewish people spend the day fasting and asking God for forgiveness for their sins to be inscribed in the book of life. On that day of all days, this sick and disgusting act was undertaken by this vile and wretched human being who, in his final acts, sought nothing more than to destroy human life, spill blood, spill Jewish blood on the streets of Manchester. Why? Well, the killer, who has been identified as a 31-year-old man from Syria, and whose name is Jihad al-Shami. apparently thought that that would get him into heaven, I guess. Well, it doesn't, buddy. And it doesn't get you 72 virgins. What it gets you is a one-way ticket to hell, where you're going to meet 72 old, angry Virginians who always loved Israel. That's what my friends told me. Yeah, that's what happened. Is this crazy man named Jihad? His name literally is Jihad. What do you expect from such a person? His name is Jihad. I'm not saying everybody named Jihad is going to go crazy, but hey, if your entire life you've been called Jihad, 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 and that's all you hear. Jihad al-Shami, of course. By the way, if you don't know what al-Shami is, the Syrian or the Levantine, the one far away. Right? Just like the Al-Quds mosque, Al-Aqsa, is the faraway mosque. That's all it is, Al-Shams, right? The faraway mosque. This guy had such a name. Such a name. I'm sure his family felt so blessed to give him such a name from birth. And I bet there's someone in his family right now who views him as a great shaheed. For what? For murdering innocent people on Yom Kippur. And by the way, if you're going to tell me, oh, he didn't hate Jews, he wasn't an anti-Semite, he was just an anti-Zionist, tell me again how murdering innocent people milling about their synagogue on Yom Kippur is anti-Zionist and not anti-Semitic. Go ahead. Hello there, I see you. I see you there. Tell me again how it's anti-Semitic is one thing and anti-Zionist is another. No, they're the same thing, okay? And I'm not here to tell you that every single action that criticizes the government of Israel, or any action that criticizes the government of Israel, is anti-Semitic. I have a lot of criticisms about the state of Israel and the government of Israel. No problem. We're not a perfect country. Far from it. But to hate people to the point where you murder them, literally targeting them because they're Jewish, right? They were visibly Jewish people outside of a synagogue on Yom Kippur. Like, can't get more obvious than that. You're going to tell me that's not anti-Semitism? And then you're going to protest in the street? They didn't just protest in the street, by the way. They rioted in the streets of Manchester. I don't know if you saw that. But there were physical riots. I saw at least many hundreds, if not thousands, of people rioting, and the police were vastly outnumbered. And it was in more than one location. It wasn't just like on one street corner or something. It was train stations, streets, literally across the street from, or on the same street as where the synagogue was, where the attack happened. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what they did. That was a blatant violation of many different things, what they did, including a blatant anti-Semitic attack. So, do I think that the attack yesterday was inspired by anti-Semitism? No, I think it was an anti-Semitic attack, 100%. And that kind of mayhem that happened in this Yom Kippur, Manchester, multi-murder, Massacree, mayhem, and the riot that followed, I think it's a very clear indication of where England has gone. And it's very sad. It's very sad to me for all the people I know and love in England, that you're living in a country that used to be, well, in a much better condition than now. Now we have a country, now we see countries, I don't speak for England, now we from the outside, we see a country that is under attack, literally. All of its citizens are under attack. By whom? By a large number of foreign immigrants. Obviously, they're foreign; they're immigrants of you know foreign people who have immigrated. A lot of them illegally, and what they seek to do by any measure should be stopped. Right? They seek to do violence, and they do violence, and this is hardly the first time. Right? You have people like Tommy Robinson, who's gone to prison on multiple occasions, apparently, or in detention or whatever. And he's been in prison at least once or twice for different periods of time. For what? For trying to raise awareness against the violent actions of immigrants who are not respectful of the law, refuse to assimilate in any way, not culturally, not nationally, not patriotically, not in any way. They tell people outright they are conducting soft jihad. They intend to overpopulate the British Isles and take over illegally by pure demographics. Right? So the average British family, like traditional British family, will have 1, 2, 3 kids. These people will have 7, 8, 9, 10 kids per family. So within a few generations, they multiply many times. And that's exactly what they're doing. And that's why you have cities like Manchester and Luton and London and other places that are being overrun very quickly by people who have insane jihadi ideas. And the British people, I pray, will stop this, because this will take over your country. This will destroy your country. We've been warning you for decades, not just in England, but in all the countries of the West and around the world. If you think that these people are just going to stop, well, that is interesting. Yeah. There you go. The currency, pi, cryptocurrency. Right. Anyway, that's for another time. If you think that these people will simply stop doing what they're doing, you're very much mistaken. They fully intend to do a global jihad. When they say globalize the intifada, you just saw that yesterday. You just saw what that means. It means globalize, right? Spread around their violence, whether it be knife stabbings, car rammings, shootings, bombs, rock throwing, extremely violent protests and riots that lead to, you know, death through other means. They fully intend to do that. And that's what we saw yesterday in Manchester on Yom Kippur. It's absolutely disgusting and vile. And as Israel approaches now the 2-year mark of this war, it's fighting with Hamas, you can see exactly that the Hamas propaganda playbook is playing out. Right? They are doing exactly what they plan to do, to influence people through propaganda, to delegitimize Israel and the Jewish people through propaganda, to try to legitimize Hamas and its terrorist actions through propaganda. That is everything they've ever tried to do. And effectively, it has worked on the useful idiots. They have done exactly what the playbook indicated, and they have been indoctrinated exactly according to the playbook. And by the way, the playbook is very old. It's not 2 years old. It is decades in the making. It goes back to the early 1980s and really back to the founding days of Hamas in the 1988, right? When they were ruminating it in the 1987, considering its creation and all that. In 1988, they launched and had their disgusting charter that they still have. Oh, but we've updated it. Yeah, it still says kill all the Jews and Israelis. Right? Oh, but not all the Jews around the world. Well, here we are, and your followers or Hamas followers are trying to kill as many Jews around the world as they can. So These were savage times. And I hope that you all stay safe and be aware of your surroundings and protect yourself and your loved ones against these brutal acts of evil by people apparently with nothing better to do in their thoughts and actions, because apparently they can't think of anything better to do than to spread violence, death, and destruction and evil, all in the name of some god they want to believe in. It's disgusting and sad and horrible. As I've always said, I hope this war ends sooner rather than later, but I ain't waiting up nights. And even as Israel is waiting, and the United States is waiting, and the whole world is waiting to hear from Hamas that they accept the peace offering currently on the table, we know the probability of that happening is currently pretty low. Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't, but we ain't waiting up nights. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for now. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Peace. Hey, cat.